It's the 2-5-1 and it's everywhere. This 3-chord progression is the secret sauce of countless legendary songs. But here's the thing, not all 2-5-1s are created equal. There's a subtle art to wielding this musical beast, a difference between a bland, predictable progression and one that explodes with emotion and color. Today, we're not just gonna hear the 2-5-1, we're gonna master it. We're gonna crack its code, unlock the deepest secrets, and learn how to play it the right way. Now, hold up, before I get canceled, of course, with music being a subjective art, there's no absolute right way to do anything, especially when it comes to feel and expression. But when I say right way, what I really mean is the expected way based on what we're gonna uncover in today's lesson. Think of it like learning the language of music, the grammar of harmony. We're gonna uncover the patterns and the common threads that make the 2-5-1. And at the end of the video, we're gonna create our own 2-5-1 progressions. I'm Alain, CEO and founder of MusicPlay. Welcome back to the channel where we help aspiring musicians learn music faster by using the frameworks of musical legends. So today's lesson is gonna cover a lot of different things, some beginner and some more intermediate level music theory. So if you already have a strong understanding of the basics of the 2-5-1, feel free to use the chapter codes below to skip ahead. But if you really want to understand what I'm going to show you at the end of the video, you'll want to watch the entire lesson. So let's dive into it. So what exactly is a 2-5-1? Well, it's a 3-chord progression. Each chord plays a specific role, creating a sense of anticipation, tension, and ultimately resolution. But first, let's figure out how to find the 2-5-1. So there's a super important distinction that is critical to knowing how to effectively use the 2-5-1. And that's the difference between the major 2-5-1 and the minor 2-5-1. Now to find the major 2-5-1, your tonic or your 1 or your home key has to be a major tonal center. Simply put, you have to be in a major key. So we'll use the C major key as our example to find our major 2-5-1. So here are the 7 notes in the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So each note has a scale degree, which basically means its numerical location in the scale. For instance, C is our 1, D is our 2, E is our 3, F is our 4, G is our 5, A is our 6, and B is our 7. So each scale degree has a diatonic chord that's built on top of it. And diatonic simply means that all the notes used are only in that key. So in this instance, all the notes used are only in the key of C major. There's 2 types of chords you'll need to know, triads and 7th chords. If you want to learn more about how to construct different types of triads and 7th chords, the science behind what makes a chord minor, major, diminished, or augmented, then let me know in the comment section below. For now, we'll use a simple chord tone formula. And chord tone just simply means the tones that are in the chord, or the notes that are in the chords. So for our triads, the chord tone formula is 1, 3, 5. And for our 7th chords, the chord tone formula is 1, 3, 5, 7. In our major and minor keys, the harmonic quality of the chords are already defined in the formula. And by harmonic quality, I mean if the chords are major, minor, diminished, or augmented. And the formula is the same in every key. So in our major key, our harmonic chord formula is 1 major, 2 minor, 3 minor, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, and 7 diminished. So all we need to do is use our chord tone formula to know the individual notes that are played in each chord. This part is super easy. So for triads, we'll just take the 1, 3, 5 chord tone formula and build our triads off of each scale degree. So to figure out the chord tones of each of the chords, all we need to do is use that 1, 3, 5 formula on each scale degree. So let's start with the C. So C we already know is a C major triad. So to figure out the notes, we'll just use 1, 3, 5 starting from C. So the 1 is C, 3 is E, 5 is G. This is our chord tones for our C major triad. And then we do the same exact thing on the next scale degree, which is D. D is 1, F is 3, A is 5. Then we move on to E. E is 1, G is 3, B is 5. Now to F. F is 1, A is 3, C is 5. Now to G. G is 1, B is 3, D is 5. Now to A. A is 1, C is 3, E is 5. And now to B. B is 1, D is 3, F is 5. So now we know all of the chord tones, or all of the notes that are in all of the diatonic triads in our C major scale. So for our 7th chords, we do the same exact process using our 1, 3, 5, 7 chord tone formula. So for our 1 major 7 or our C major 7, here are the chord tones that make up that chord. So C is 1, E is 3, G is 5, B is 7. Now we take that same pattern and move it across the rest of the scale degrees. So we have D, F, A, C for D minor 7, E, G, B, D for D minor 7, F, A, C, E for F major 7, G, B, D, F for G dominant 7, A, C, E, G for A minor 7, and B, D, F, A for B minor 7 flat 5. So now you know the chord name and chord spelling for each of the 7 chords in the C major scale. So in C major, your 2 chord is D minor 7, your 5 chord is G7, and your 1 chord is C major 7. Now, you'll rarely play these chords in root position. More often than not, they're gonna be voicelet, so they sound smoother. Something like this. Then if you're more advanced, you do things like tensions or harmonic extensions, like this. Hey, this video is a snippet from one of our live training sessions in the Gospel Piano Mastery community. I'd love for you to join me once a week for live trainings where we focus on improving our gospel piano skills and learning how to use key concepts to enhance our playing. Our community is perfect for musicians of all levels. Even if you have no experience with music theory, ear training, or music notation, here's how we break it down each month. Week 1, we focus on beginner trainings. Week 2, intermediate trainings. Week 3, advanced trainings. And week 4, our Q&As to answer any specific questions from our community. We created this community to meet the high demand for our coaching services. And once we reach capacity, enrollment will close. So click the link below to join the Gospel Piano Mastery program today and start your journey towards gospel piano mastery. I'll see you inside on the next coaching call. So now you know the chord name and chord spelling for each of the 7th chords in the C major scale, including your 2 chord, 5 chord, and your 1 chord, your 2-5-1. Now to find a minor 2-5-1, we do the same exact process, but in our minor tonality, in our minor key. So let's use C minor as our example so you can really hear the change in tonality. Now we're gonna go through the same exact process we did for our C major key, but now we're gonna do it for our C minor key. So let's play the C minor scale. So our 7 notes are C, which is the 1, D, which is the 2, E flat, which is now the flat 3, F, which is the 4, G, which is the 5, A flat, which is now the flat 6, and B flat, which is now the flat 7. So those are our scale degrees for our minor key, right? We used to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 for our major key, but now we have 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 5 for our minor key. Now, the same way we had a harmonic quality formula for our major key, we have the same thing for our minor key. So let's go over the triads first. The 1 triad is a minor triad. The 2 triad is a diminished triad. The flat 3 is a major. The 4 is a minor. The 5 is a minor. The flat 6 is a major. And the flat 7 is a major. And notice for the chord tones, all we did was that same 1, 3, 5 formula to figure out the notes that made up that triad. For our 7th chords, we have a 1 minor 7, a 2 minor 7 flat 5, a flat 3 major 7, a 4 minor 7, a 5 minor 7, a flat 6 major 7, and a flat 7 dominant 7. Now, even though the 5 chord is a 5 minor 7, when you're doing a 2-5-1 progression, your 5 chord is always a dominant chord. So in our minor key, our 2-5-1 is 2 minor 7 flat 5, 5 dominant 7 to 1 minor 7. Slightly different from our major 2-5-1, where it was a 2 minor 7 to a 5 dominant 7 to a 1 major 7. So what makes these chords different is a term called chord scales. And we're using the chord scale of the chord that we're resolving to. So when we resolve to a major tonality, we use the chord scale of that key. For instance, the C, all of our notes came from that C major tonality. So the 2 in that key, if we just follow the 1, 3, 5, 7 pattern, when we wanted to figure out the notes that made up that chord, all we did was 1, 3, 5, starting from the 2. And that gave us a 2 minor 7 chord. More specifically, a D minor 7. But as soon as we went to C minor, the notes of that key changed. So we were introduced to a different chord scale, right? So the 1, 3, 5, 7 starting from the 2 gives us different notes. We get D, F. Instead of A natural, we now get A flat, and we get C, which gives us a D minor 7 flat 5, as opposed to the D minor 7 from the key of C. So based on that concept, this is where the idea of expected resolutions come in. Because when you use the chords that are a part of that tonal center, you're creating an expectation to resolve to the one of that tonal center. Meaning when I play a D minor 7 flat 5, and then resolve to a G7, I'm setting you up to expect a minor resolution. Because of the minor 2-5-1. Now, when I play a major 2-5-1, I'm setting you up for an expectation of a major resolution. So now we know how to always find our major 2-5-1 and our minor 2-5-1. But more importantly, a major 2-5-1 is a 2 minor 7, 5-7 to 1 major 7, while a minor 2-5-1 is 2 minor 7, 5-5, a 5-7 to a 1 minor 7. So earlier I mentioned how each of the 2-5-1s play a specific role, creating a sense of anticipation, tension, and ultimately resolution. Think of it like a story. The 2-chord, that's the setup, the introduction to a question or a conflict, like the D minor 7 chord adding a bit of melancholy and mystery. And the 5-chord, this is the turning point, the hero facing the dragon, the tension building to a breaking point. And it's always a dominant 7 chord, like the G7 in our example, with added tension and dissonance that's begging for a release. And then you have the 1 chord, the sweet resolution. This is the hero slaying the dragon, the answer to the question, the feeling of coming home. And it's always the tonic chord, like the C major 7th again, bringing us back to that familiar ground. It's all about the way these chords relate to each other. Because of the circle of fifths and how harmony naturally resolves up a fourth, the 2-chord sets up a natural tendency to move towards the 5-7. And like a gravitational pull, then the 5-7 screams, "I need to go somewhere." And the 1 chord is the happy landing pad, the place of stability and sanctification. But that's just the basic framework. The real magic happens when you start exploring the nuances with expected resolutions and deceptive resolutions. So we kind of touched on this earlier. The way that 2-5-1s are expected to resolve is when you're resolving to a major chord, you use a major 2-5-1. When you're resolving to a minor chord, you use a minor 2-5-1. But this is where we as musicians get to be creative and take the listener on a musical journey by mixing up expected resolutions and deceptive resolutions to create interesting moments throughout your music and throughout your playing. And this part is all subjective. It's all about your creative choice. Now, I encourage you to do this on your own time. Choose a song that you resonate with, that you really enjoy, and just look at the different possibilities in the song where you can create 2-5-1 progressions. Hey, this video is a snippet from one of our live training sessions in the Gospel Piano Mastery community. I'd love for you to join me once a week for live trainings where we focus on improving our gospel piano skills and learning how to use key concepts to enhance our playing. So click the link below to join the Gospel Piano Mastery program today and start your journey towards gospel piano mastery. I'll see you inside on the next coaching call. All right, we've cracked the code on the 2-5-1. We've seen how it works, we've heard how it sounds, and learned how to use it like a musical pro. But remember, this is just the first chapter in your musical adventure. The 2-5-1 is like a magical key, unlocking a whole world of musical possibilities. So keep exploring, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep creating. I'm Alain, and I'll see you in the next lesson.